Well, hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a painting that I think a lot of you will like. It's not a complicated painting. It's got just some beautiful mountains in Alberta and just great light on them. It's got sunlight on the one side, and it's kind of like highlighting all of the rock forms. Some nice evergreen trees. Again, nothing too complicated, and cool tones in the shadows. So I think it's a painting that, I don't know, I've just been thinking about kind of making nice marks and simplifying shapes, and just kind of wanted to do something not too complicated and just kind of try to do it really well. So that is what I'm going to aim for today. So I will be painting. I'm going to start with a wet layer kind of across the whole canvas. I'm going to make kind of a liquid light blue. The sky in this is really not a particularly important focal point, so this is just going to be flat blue sky. Then I'm going to build the other tones into it. I may not put down a wet layer on the entire thing. I may just kind of focus that on the sky and then give myself some dry space to work out the rest of it. But yeah, let's start there. So make a liquid light blue. And I might use this knife a bit today. So for my light blue, I'm going to use cobalt mostly, because it's kind of a muted and kind of neutral blue. And I've got a little titanium white out. I'll get some more too. And put a little of this here. Putting a little bit of raw umber out just because it dries fast, and I know that my whole pile is a little dry. I might want it to even dull the blue a little bit. I do have a plan for what I'm doing for my paint storage soon. I want to make a little thing with drawers in it, or I could probably buy something, but I don't know. I like making stuff. So I'm gonna do that. I'll put some more white out here. Do that. Yeah, it could even be a little more. I think let's brush this up. This is my linseed oil. It's been congealing for too long. Okay. Sometimes I think my best paintings can be when I don't overplan. I picked painting this picture about like 5 minutes ago, so I haven't really thought much about it, which will kind of let me explain my thoughts as I'm coming up with them. Okay. Let's grab a little bit of that on my knife too. Make up my blue. So first thing I'm kind of doing is seeing where am I coming out in terms of the color, in terms of the value. I'd say for the value I'm really not doing too bad. I do think it might be just a tad too blue. So I'm going to take just a touch of raw umber. And this may darken it too much. I might have to add a little bit of white in. But I don't want this to be the most saturated color in the picture. I want this to kind of sit back a little bit. Let the sunlight really kind of drive this whole thing. It's kind of nice. So I'll get a little bit more. Put some of my lavender solvent in. This is lavender spike oil, which isn't really, it's not really an oil, it's a solvent, which is confusing. But and I'm adding a little bit of linseed oil to this as well. I don't know, it's kind of in a back to basics mood when I thought about painting today, so that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm making up some fairly thinned paint. We'll see. As I sometimes do, I may end up going back in over the thinned paint later. But I like to set something in as a starting point. Try that to start. Just a little bit more of this out. Still wet my brush with mostly now. So it's a little sticky. Sometimes I'll just do that just to kind of wake the brush up. If it has a little residual oil in it, it can be a little too tough. So there we go. That's not a problem. Just go ahead and pop some paint on here. This board is prepared with an acrylic gesso, which just makes it white and seals it. And yeah, I think it works kind of nicely. And it's got a little bit of a grit to it, so I kind of want to make sure you're working the paint in, unless you want it to have those kind of brush streaks here, which I do not for this guy. Sometimes streaks are good. It's kind of, I think, nothing in a painting that's kind of always good or always bad. Like, it just kind of depends if it works or not. It does what you want it to do. For me, this blue feels like a good sky color. It's not too exciting. It'll give us something to silhouette our kind of glowing mountains against, though. I need more of this. Probably not. And I'm just going right across here. I'm gonna bring this peak in here, and it's gonna cover up a bunch of this, but for right now, just made a nice even sky. Yeah. I think that'll be plenty of sky. And then the next color I want to lay in, I'm going to do kind of a similar thing. I'm seeing the shadows of the mountains. I'm gonna kind of plop those in too. And then I'll build the lights in on top of the shadows. But for my shadow color, it's gonna be kind of based on ultramarine. Grab a little bit of this. Probably refresh this paint too. I was doing a little bit of acrylic painting recently. I did a little live stream for channel members, but it meant that I spent an extra day away from this probably. Okay, so, which, nothing bad with that. It just means that some of the paints are going to dry out a little more than they usually do. Let's pop some of that right in there too. I'm going to use a good amount of this paint too. Let's see. I've got ultramarine, and I'll probably dull that back a little bit more too. Thinking maybe with like just a little bit of alizarin crimson, make it kind of warm and purpley. May even mix an earth tone into this as well. I'm really thinking about, like, I think as you're getting started, especially with oil painting, it's easy to have all your colors mixed together, and then there's like a certain amount of like muddiness that will come from that, where like you actually have to fight to keep your colors nice and bright. And then kind of once you get a handle on that, then you may have to fight to make sure you don't over brighten everything and have like a painting that reads as all really bright. I don't know. It's something that I'm thinking about. So I think that might be a good shadow color. Again, brought a little bit of umber into this. I'm gonna go do kind of the same thing, thin this down. And grab the little oil too. Get out of there. Just reuse my dropper because I've got this just sitting in a little tray, or a little jar, I guess. Really need to fill this back up, but I don't need very much right now. Mostly with this, I'm just kind of making a consistency that feels like it's going to go on not too thick with a brush. That'll work. Alright, wipe a little of this blue out of here. Doesn't have to be perfect. This will be not putting unnecessary amounts of sky color in. So a little transition here won't be a bad thing though either. So I think that's gonna work. Yeah, that's a good color. So I'm gonna try and keep my edge against the sky nice and crisp right now. I may choose to soften some of this eventually, but it's kind of better to go a little too crisp than not enough, especially if you do want to preserve your sky. I'm trying to kind of move this right along and also put in the brush strokes that are kind of relating to the shapes that I'm seeing. Sometimes these lines that the brush makes will really help with putting texture in later, because this paint will set up a bit and then I'll be able to kind of catch it with the knife and make some nice highlights. And that works pretty well. And I've got another, I'm actually going to go, I'm mixing in a little bit of this sky color because on this side I'm noticing I've got a little bit more kind of atmosphere in between this peak. Just gives them a little bit of separation here. It's going to be some highlights that will do this separation thing as well. I'm going to put the paint down, I might as well try and make it work for me. Just doing the same thing I did before. Scrubbing in this paint. You can see this paint that goes on wet, or goes onto the dry surface. Just takes a little bit more work. And if you are applying even like a liquid white or liquid clear or something like that, you want to make sure you kind of work it in that way too, and then take off anything that's extra. But you don't want it like applied sparsely, I guess. Okay. And then down here in the foreground, I often see this, but when you've got atmosphere happening in the shadows get a little warmer as they get closer. So I'll probably do one more step with some alizarin crimson for this foreground. A little blob out of there. Blobs are gonna happen, but I If you can avoid them, that can be good too. Try and put some cool brush marks in here. This is the kind of the opposite of the sky, where I want all this texture and all this variation and all these different things happening to happen. There we go. And then yeah, down here. Take the same blue color that I've been working with. I'm going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson, and that's gonna make the green trees that are going over this just a little bit richer. I like using reds under greens a lot. It just kind of, when they mix together, it just gives them a little bit more variety. I'm gonna start creating some tree texture too. So I've got this. Looks a little weird right now, but I don't know, it tends to just work out, so. I'm actually letting this go on really rough. I didn't thin this when I added the extra paint, so it's going to give me even more texture to work with. I'm kind of just making some composition decisions here. Like, I don't want these trees to be too all the same. I kind of want to bring some a little closer. It's almost like a sketch layer, this sort of underpainting. You can kind of move some things around, think about them. I think that's most important. There. Oh, we have a nice underpainting. I feel like, I don't know, this is one of these things, I feel like these underlayers are something that, I don't know, gives my work a particular look. Which I don't know, I kind of just figured it out by accident maybe, but yeah, it's pretty nice. All right, let's get rid of this brush, give it a wash. Put kind of as much of the paint out onto the brush as I can. I've got my safflower oil brush cleaner. Let me switch back to the other brush cleaner I was using before. It's kind of, this one's okay too. I don't know. Sometimes you just get used to something and you like it. And my old brush cleaner, I had to be more careful about getting it like kind of washed out of the brushes before I would use it, which wasn't really a problem. It was just like an extra step. And the safflower oil, because it's also a medium, even if you just took this brush and put it right on the paint, you wouldn't, I mean, it might not look like what you want, but it wouldn't hurt the painting any, which is kind of nice too. But it does have that habit of making my brushes a little stiffer when I come back to them. So I guess, you know, one way or the other, you either have a cleaner that can't dry out or a cleaner that does dry out. And there's pluses and minuses to that either way. Either way, not the end of the world. It's just kind of like one of those things. If you paint, you figure out what you like, what you don't like. One more time. Another nice thing about knives, and maybe that's why I haven't had to worry too much about brush cleaning, is I mostly paint with knives. You just wipe them off, which I love. I think that just takes a level of complication out of the whole thing. Brush paper towel. This knife. And I'll just take all this color that I've made so far and move it off to the side. Maybe sometimes I find that these kind of initial colors are handy for things later, and it's worth keeping them around. It can be fun to see what I've got here. Got a lot of red. Good amount of alizarin left over from that first set. Okay. So I'm gonna keep to working in the darker areas first. I may not need to do too much in them. I think I want to just bring a little bit more texture in. I've got this purple here. I'm gonna bring just a touch of white on here. Maybe a little cobalt. Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. I kind of want to make a gray that's a little different from this purple. That might be, bring a little of this in. Kind of gray that's not too, it's got maybe a little bit of purple, but not too purple. Just kind of start sculpting in a little bit there. That's decent. Maybe bring in like one more color, maybe a little burnt umber. Thinking about trying to do more knife things where I put like multiple colors on a knife and drag that in. So I'll just try and kind of sculpt. These are sort of the lighter areas of some of these rocks. Let's see. Really, that's interesting. So yeah, I can scrape away too. That might be fun when I go to do the highlights, actually. I'm generally thinking about working dark-ish to light. Trying to follow my rock contours with the knife. Hoping this isn't too dark. I have the light on the right hand side off today, so I have not been able to get a spot for it that hasn't caused some kind of annoying glare. So I'm just gonna try one without it. Maybe less is more. like a little bit more white. Just get in here. There's some like kind of closer texture here with rocks that are I feel like the shadows, I like working on them first because I like them mixing more, and then as I get into lighter areas, as the paint's dried up a little bit more, I've got a little bit more control. I can get things even a little bit more crisp. Good, and then as I kind of move things with the knife, I can kind of get the look of different faces, and like no one knife mark just has only one color on it. Let's see. More of that up here. They're just, again, lighter shadow areas, not sunlight yet. So I'm really aiming to kind of mix these things in. And I can get a little bit sharper with these edges too now that I've got my knife up here. Just kind of give them a little wobble. Just gives more of a rock effect than the soft brushes. Quite nice. Kind of a tree texture right here. And a little bit of raw umber. This is kind of serving as a underneath. We get even a little bit more of this ultramarine in here. This area seems kind of particularly dark. Particularly dark and particularly sharp. So let this paint go on nice and thick. this ridge. Just gonna set me up for some really cool highlights. Keep working that down. I think this texture's building up really nicely though. Right. Just testing. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I get paranoid sometimes when those things are going so well and I worry. Like, did I remember to hit record? Is everything actually working out right? I don't have that many mishaps, honestly, but it's like, it's just a fear that I still have. Okay. I'm enjoying this. This is very fun. This like very careful texturing with the knife. It's working for me. Okay, so I'm gonna put in, there's gonna be some more light here. I'm gonna come in here and do this next dark area. Let's see, I'm gonna put a little burnt sienna in this with this little slightly warmer area over here. A little purple in here even. Feels like the right thing to do. I'm letting this get a little softer, kind of stretching my paint a little bit. It's just as I'm getting a little closer that the land is getting softer. It's not as much like sheer rock face. It's more kind of blanketed in trees and sort of just softer rock forms, I guess. So I'm kind of letting that inform what I do over here. I think it's funny. Some people would say this isn't creative because I'm looking at something and I'm painting it. I just can't. I don't know. I just don't worry about that really, but I also just can't understand that mindset anymore. It's just like no two people would do this the same, so there's obviously something in it. Mixing up a light color in a way, but I'm gonna try not to get too into it. I just kind of want to have it here so I can kind of start thinking about it. If that makes any sense at all. Couple of tones. trying to get this yellow bright, but not. I want it to glow, but I don't want it to look like really overdone either. At least not yet. I may come back to this and put even more. And it's crazy when you see this color on the palette, it's almost like a brown, and then you put it in here next to the purple and it really shifts it a lot. That's just kind of what happens if you put opposite colors near each other. Kind of drift some colors there. Those are kind of nice. Another little shadow here. Let's start. You know, walked into a mic stand. It happens. Not one I'm using right now. Just one that's a little far behind me. I have to think that through. I might need to change. Alright. Alright now. I don't want to get too far into this, but I did want to kind of just start finding some things. I do want to keep my lights and darks kind of separated in this. It's a very strong contrast, and I felt like I'd be able to kind of do this, like where I'm kind of carving the paint back up, bringing the shadows, kind of cutting away at some of these highlights. Definitely kind of has to be a gentle process. It can be very muddy. So I'll keep brushes out of this one entirely at this point. Maybe a little here and there if I really need to do something. But I really just want to keep this rock texture alive. Even scrape some of the blue right out of here. If you can't get your paint to stick, it's actually always a good method is just remove a little bit of whatever's kind of underneath it and fighting you. We'll make whatever you put back in brighter. It's coming along. gonna sculpt some trees in too. Before I get too caught up in the foreground, I do want to do a little bit more with this area back here too. Just make it kind of a lighter blue-gray. Just gonna pop this in a couple of spots. Mostly kind of just looking for one more color of paint in here. Let the texture follow the form here. I may end up going over this edge a little bit here. That's okay. Sometimes I think it's better to sort of rack an edge and then bring it back than it is to like worry about preserving everything. That's good. Got more of the look now though. Maybe just a little warm up on that. Just a tiny touch of light. Maybe too much. So if it's too much, take a little off, put a little something on. There, I think that works pretty well. It's just bringing a little bit of that warm light without kind of overdoing it. I haven't used a lot of green yet. Green is coming in later. But I'm starting to think about it. The green in this is it's quite muted, but it's there. Almost like more brown greens. Take a tiny bit of Viridian and put it into this kind of umber mix. And even put some more umber into this. And start that. Maybe like try to make a lighter version of it. Just to kind of put some different colors in. It's like a treed area that's somewhat shaded, somewhat sunny, kind of like a little ravine or something that goes in between. That's pretty decent. Kind of trying to find those kind of edge areas where there's like a little bit of forest. It's not really lit. got some more light I want to bring in kind of down here and lower. And I'm being a little bit nervous about it. I think it's going to be, I think it's not complicated. I think I need to mix it down a little less strong. I'll put a little of this green in. I'm going to just kind of pop it in here. I may take a brush to this because I do want it to kind of mix in a little bit more in this area, but I'm going to try to behave and not end up all over the whole painting if I do that. Let's start with that. I think I'm just gonna keep going with the knife though. It'll make sense. Kind of doing these little triangle shapes right now. A little bit more light. Go a little warmer. A little bit whiter. Alright. That's still coming. I like that. Okay. I am gonna take a little brush to this just for a few spots here. I want to get some of these kind of tree, especially these far trees. I just feel like they need to be smaller than the marks I can make with the knife right now. And I want them represented. So I'm kind of not even really worrying about putting new colors down here. I'm just really just building into what I've got already. Using this to shape the paint. I like doing this where there are trees. So areas that are very rocky won't have marks like this in them. And some of these will be good because I might be able to come in and grab some sort of tree highlights with a knife later too. So it's kind of like building a good foundation that you can work with. And do different things. think those kind of like big knife shapes, kind of contrasting these softer tree shapes. It's a nice, it's kind of like what mountains are all about. At least when I paint them, that is. You can paint them different. As the great Bob Ross said, this is your world. I think that's what a lot of people are attracted to with painting, is you can pick and choose what you like. Pretty cool. Okay, put that aside for a minute. Let's try and get some green into these trees. I'm kind of feeling like I'm probably close to done for today, but I don't like stopping at the wrong points, so I think it would be a mistake not to get some green into this tree area before I stop. Let's see. I'm gonna mix a little alizarin into this again. These trees are mostly just really dark. And they do lean green, but they're not extremely saturated either. A little more green though. A little more green than that. Even a little more umber. I kind of want to do an earth tones painting only. Like, I might do one of those next. See kind of how far I can push just the earth pigments. How much color I can get out of them. Do some yellow ochre and some raw umber and some burnt sienna. I think technically Viridian is an earth pigment, but I feel like that would be cheating, so I'll probably leave that out. Also probably be too strong compared to a lot of these others. It's pretty nice. It's one I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how much these things kind of show up on screen. I'm hoping these little flecks of red are still appearing for you. I'm trying not to cover them all up, just to kind of let that kind of glow through. And I think as I get a little over to the right, it's giving a little bit more yellow. A little bit of yellow in here. Let this area kind of catch just a little bit more of this light that's hitting the trees and the rest of the painting. Just a little though. Don't want to overdo it. The areas in sunlight will tend to have not just lighter colors, but also brighter colors. I've got some sort of purple and green on my knife at the same time. Trying not to mix it too much. Just kind of some variety. It's kind of in that awkward bottom edge of the painting problem, but it happens. Just a little light in here. Just kind of bringing in some different things. Just a little bit of the sky color now coming in. Again, I don't really want this isn't. It's not the focal point of the painting, but I don't want it to look like it was just kind of like rubber stamped on. Like I think trying to look for the variation even when it's not that obvious can be good. That might be a good spot for today. It's actually looking pretty nice. If I wanted to, I could call it done, but I think I want to come back one more time, just to make it even better. I feel like that's what you can do when you're painting. Come back and make it even better. Yeah. Alright, well, I'll be back in a few. Alright, and I'm back. Yeah, I've been thinking about this one a little bit. It's been a couple days since I worked on it, and everything's like really nicely set up, which I was kind of hoping it would. I wasn't sure if I was going to go into this with wax on the lights or if I was going to just kind of keep it to just oil paint, but I think I am going to bring wax in. I think I've got a really good structure, and all the darks I think are plenty dark enough, and I don't think I'm going to have to go in and bring anything else down. So now I'm just going to be kind of massaging all the little lights and making them kind of pop where I want them to. There's like quite a bit of like beautiful subtlety that I think is not coming through in this yet, but I think it can. So that's what I'm going to mostly try to. It'll be kind of working in the lights, some of these lighter green tones, the oranges, the siennas. Probably stay out of the blues. I think I have enough there. So I think this is going to be like kind of all about bringing the finality to it through the lights. Yeah, so let's get going with that. Grab some wax. And I think I'm going to start by mixing up a few kind of tones to work with so that I don't have to go back and forth too much with mixing things. I want to kind of just be intentional from the start with this. So I'm going to make a very light one. It's going to be kind of like an ochre, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of white, and then I'm going to kind of adjust that down into some kind of like more, not really midtones because they're all still pretty bright, but maybe like a kind of sienna variation and a green variation. Maybe something with like just a yellowy yellow. So I'll get some yellow ochre out. And red sienna, how are you doing? I'll get a little bit more of that too. Yeah, earth tones always dry out the fastest, so I try not to like over apply them to the canvas, I guess, or to the palette, just because I know they probably won't be any good the next day. Sienna. I was thinking I'm gonna bring in a little bit of red oxide as well. It's not really here in the, or maybe it is just a little bit, but it's not that apparent, but I think it might be a nice color. Yeah, it's transparent red oxide, which I kind of think about as in between the alizarin crimson and the burnt sienna. I use alizarin a lot. I think for this I'm trying to push the warmth of the highlights, so the alizarin is just slightly purple, so it's a little bit cool of a red, so I'm gonna skip over that one for this. Yeah. Got white, and I've got a little viridian, and I'm gonna add a little bit of this Gamboge Lake Extra. Such a nice color. Okay. It's just like the brightest vest yellow I've ever used. Okay. Grab a cloth. And let's mix some colors. So I'll start out with a good sized club, and actually got a little of that yellow right in there from the start, but my plan was to do yellow ochre and drop a bunch of titanium white. Make a pretty bright, warm highlight tone. This might even be too dark right now. Maybe not though, actually. It's not. It's the brightness on this really is coming from the contrast and the color temperature shift. So where I've got the cool shadows, I've got the sort of yellow and red in the highlights. And that's what's really giving it the lit effect. This looks like the right color actually, so I'll keep that here. I won't try and push it too light yet. It's always good to leave a little bit of room too, so I can always make a lighter one and then apply it a little bit, but we'll start with that. I'm gonna pull just a little bit of this off of this and do a burnt sienna. I guess I might have to lighten a little bit more. Yeah, that's a little, let's see, what can I lighten with besides white though? Maybe I'll do a little of this yellow. Let's see if that, nope. It's still dark. That's one thing that the more cadmium based yellows are kind of good because they are opaque, so they'll lighten things. But I find lately I've just found them to be kind of weak and disappointing, so trying other things instead. That's a good one, I think. And then look at her. This will be a little darker, and it'll be a red oxide one. That doesn't need to be nearly as bright. A little more wax in it though. Okay. That looks fairly good. Start. Oh, and then I was gonna make a blue, a green too, rather. I'm gonna take. I guess I'll put some viridian. I really don't want this to turn too super green. Is that fairly good? Can even go a little lighter. I want it like slightly green, but I don't want it to be an overdone green either. Okay. So this edge right here is where I actually have the most opportunity to do some more. So I'm gonna go from kind of the darkest to the lightest on this. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this. There's kind of another edge here that's kind of setting up a little higher. It's like a little wrinkle in the mountain. Let's see. Just kind of dropping that down. Trying to go in here and be a little careful. I kind of want this to start having more variation to it. Some areas I know it's like I've put in in some colors and there's like a little bit of sameness to it, so I'm kind of trying to kind of pull this shape out of it. But I've got all this nice texture that I made the other day, and that's gonna grab this and kind of gives me details without having to paint them. Sounds silly. I mean, I guess I did paint them, but I don't have to go in with a tiny tool and make those shapes. They just kind of happened, which I think it just gives it like a more natural look, like less overworked. But I like how this wax is working here, where it lets me kind of blend a couple colors together, but I get multiple colors going on a single knife stroke. I want to try really hard to leave a lot of these dark pits in here though, because that's really what's giving this all of the texture, all of this light. So I really want to try and keep the color kind of broken up. To all of this. I'm using this round knife, which seems odd on mountains, but for here, it's just one I feel like I have a lot of control with, and I feel like I've made most of my sharp shapes. I just need to kind of like follow them now. And for that, you can almost use anything, so I just use this one because I like it. Already looking a lot better actually. And just waiting a day and like having this sit on top, like you can see I mixed a similar color here, but it mixed into a dark, so it didn't come out quite as bright, but it's nice because I've got that, I'll have that variation in there. Let's see, put a little of this ochre kind of in the edges here. A little of the sienna. Shooting across. This is like a little outcropping that's catching the light a little differently. But it's all those little things that kind of add up to giving this a shape. Here is like very vertical, trying to keep those rock shapes. Make it in between here. This feels like maybe it needs one. Maybe even a mix of all three. I'm gonna need, almost do need a little bit of a redder, maybe even like a little cadmium red light. This I'm gonna try to use sparingly, but I feel like it might be nice in a couple of spots. Do a little more of the red oxide. Cadmium red light on its own is very intense, which I love. I love it for the like sunlit kind of glow on things. Let's see. Just kind of like grabbing a couple of these. They're like low, but they're very fiery. That's kind of good. Okay, get out of there though. Again, sparingly. Come up a little bit here. And go right into sort of very bright couple of couple of shapes. A little bit of this green down here. I'm starting to get these tree shapes in here. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, there's like that. It's like such a mix right here. There's the trees, and then there's like rocks that you can see through them, and the light hitting them. It's almost like there's these like bands of different colors going through here. So I'll do a little bit of this. Just try and follow that. And it's kind of like this pretty little curve too. I'm just gonna go across this. If it turns out bad, I'll figure something else out. But it looks like this is what it wants to do. I think down, it's like this change in texture where it gets very soft. Also gets, I might need another, maybe I do need like a little bit of an alizarin mix with some white, which looks like a crazy color, but I'm gonna just keep it here. I feel like I do see some spots for it, like I like to simplify the colors, but then I also like to like find the really crazy ones where they are too. Bring them in. And these lighter green trees are where they're getting, these are getting some sunlight. I really want to try and keep thinking kind of small, though. I want to not get too lost in too many things. I'm seeing kind of as it goes, as I get down here, I get kind of much grayer, less that kind of like fiery color and more into like pinks and greens. Like just gets a little bit more subtle. Yeah, okay. And here I've got right at this edge here, a little of this very red. Tempted to put in a little bit of like some blue purple and kind of sweep it up into some of this stuff, but I'm really gonna try to hold off for that for right now and not assume that it's gonna need that. There's plenty to work with here. Absolutely plenty. And there's plenty of dark if I don't accidentally remove it take a little of this pink, a little bit of this yellow, kind of make these brights as I see them here. I'm really hoping if I get these values right, it will start reading as a little bit more three-dimensional than it has so far. It's pretty nice, but it's also just a little, feels a little bit flat, and that's partially just the composition. I think this is probably like a very zoomed in photo, which just has a tendency to kind of flatten things. I mean, it's not a major issue, it's just a thing. Mountains are not really easy to get good photos of, I don't think. I think they always feel, to me, they always feel really small compared to the experience of being there. Okay. And I've got a nice bit of trees in here. Let me brush that a little bit. Just soften it. It's a little brighter. Okay. Okay, there's another, just trying to really see these faces. Okay, it's another little area that gets pretty bright. Again, I've kind of hinted at it already, but not as much as I could. Some texture on this. This looks really good. It's like one of these things that, yeah, you step back from it and it really has the effect, and it's tempting to try and soften it out, but I think it's better not to. I'm gonna make it darker green. A little phthalo, a little viridian, a little bit of this other green, a little bit more wax. Got a lot more viridian actually. It's nowhere near as strong as the phthalo. Go in here. I'm gonna just kind of pick up and not even do too much, just kind of create that texture right in there. Do a little bit more of that up here too. Really try and not smooth it out too much. I want to keep this tree texture that I created. Put some more in there. Yeah, just give it one more level though. Just moving that. That's a good color coming in here now. Okay, maybe a little bit more in here. I like putting in kind of like similar colors right on top of each other, as long as I keep kind of control as I do it. Kind of helps you have these little kind of unified passages through here. I feel like this area has actually come out really nice, and almost did it less carefully. It's also just got some really nice greens in it. Like over here, it's a little quieter. It's actually much more rocky in general, but it's not bad. It's just a little different. Let's put in a little bit here, just a little bit of this green here. Little phthalo, bunch of viridian, snag some of this brown and just dull it a little bit though. Let that catch some of these foreground trees too. Right in there. It's almost a very warm, bright edge. Think about like rock climbers sometimes when I'm doing these. I like think about how they probably know all these little parts if they climb this. A little lighter even. Just scraping a little bit of this out. I'm just bringing the dark back in just a little bit. Okay. That's really intense. It's very colorful now, which I like. Let's see. I think, does it have enough colors in it? It probably has enough colors in it. Just gonna do in some texture things. Bring in just a little bit here. me, it's something about, I think because of the way the trees have this like transparency to them, it reminds me of a painting I did that you may remember. That is the snowy cabins. I don't know, they're like on a hillside. I don't remember what I called it. Something like that. But it has kind of a similar thing where like you're looking at the base of a mountain and it's got, you can kind of see through. This brush is a little crispy, but it'll work for this. Actually, it might be even better than it would be otherwise. I'm really close. This pink feels a little bit ridiculous right now. I don't know. It's like, I think it's there, but it's probably not quite as strong as I made it. So just take it back just a little. Let the edges. I like how it like sort of peeks through there though. Sometimes I like to put down colors kind of all, I don't know, sort of close to full strength, and then kind of work on them a little bit and know that they're not going to stay that bright the whole time. But it seems pretty good. I think I might do a little tune-up on these foreground trees. Little phthalo, little viridian, grab some of these random yellows. Maybe just bring in a little extra detail on them. Just a couple of them right in the front. Just kind of catching them as a group, not even worrying too much about individual trees too much. They're kind of, think about these as being kind of blurred out and you're just really looking past them. So they're here, but they're not really what it's about. That's a little light. A little too light. These are a little cool. Could go a little warmer too. I make trees like kind of pulling the knife across like this and just kind of swishing the branches out of them a little bit. feel like that, yeah, kind of works for me. There we go. Come up just a little bit more. One of these. Let it just stand out from the group. If I can. It doesn't want to stick right now. It's kind of a funny spot because it's pretty thick here, but I think I can go up even a little more. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Like just kind of breaking the line sometimes can be really good. Just having it not feel too kind of boxed in. Yeah, cool. It's a colorful sunrise. Sunrise, sunset, I'm not really sure. Let's do a little bit. Getting like one more tone, just a little bit in here. I've already got it, right? Alright. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this one here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night, or whatever you're up to next. This painting will be for sale in my coffee shop, so check the link if you want to buy it. Alright. Thank you so much, and have a great night.